Hello everybody and welcome back to another Super Auto Pets video with Septilence. I am going to be doing things a little different today, so we're going to be going through the pets that have changed in the turtle pack, the pack that everybody has, their impact, and kind of where I'm going to rank them on the new value they bring to the table. So we're not going to be covering the pets that stayed the same. Instead, we're going to be tackling the new ones, and I'm going to kind of rank them on how important I find them. If you like this, I can go through the other packs. I actually have them organized already, the star pack and the puppy pack and the golden pack. We can talk a little bit more about that if you guys enjoy it, but if not, then hey, we tried, right? So starting off with the beaver, it used to be where if you sold it, it would give one random friend. Oh no, sorry, that's the ant. I'm misspeaking. The beaver would give two random friends +1 health, and then +2 health and +3 health. Now the beaver gives attack instead. So it being a 3/2, its stats saying the same. I think I'm going to leave it in A tier. I think it's a very important pet to have early game. I think it can provide a lot of additional attack. I mean, that's pretty important to offer that +1, +2, +3, and it's a good pet to buy on round 1 or 2, and then to kind of swap things out, you can find yourself with that beaver buffing a more critical character down the line. Next up is going to be, oh, I was in the wrong document. No wonder my pets were out of order. Here we go. The otter, which is changing from a 1/2 to a 1/3. And instead of giving 2 allies +1/+1, it'll now give 1 ally +1. And then if it levels up, it'll give 2 allies +1 health. So it's going just health instead of health and attack. And I think that's a pretty critical nerf. The otter used to be my favorite character because those early +1/+1s could be huge on a stronger, larger character like that fish. But instead, things fall apart a little bit. I think I'm going to put it down toward the... Yeah, I'm actually going to make a change here. I'm going to go like this because early game, I think that health is more important than attack. A lot of games in turns 1 through 4, you're going to be seeing somebody win with just 1 HP instead of, 1 attack isn't going to win you a game usually. So that's where I'm going to place the otter. The ant, changing from a 2/1 to a 2/2. It used to give an ally +2/+1 when it fainted. Now it offers +1/+1, and then as it levels up, it's +2/+2 and +3/+3. So it's a small nerf, but I think the ant is still a very strong character in the early game of Super Auto Pets. So we're gonna put that in the S for now. That might change. I don't know. I'm feeling funky, feeling fun. So up next is actually the mouse, one of 2 characters added to the turtle pack. So the mouse is changing pretty drastically. Used to be a 2/1, now it's a 1/2. And its old ability used to be if you sold it, you could get a free apple +1/+1 to any of your pets. But now it stocks 1 free apple. And then if it's level 2, it stocks 1 free better apple, which offers +2/+2, and 1 best apple if it's a level 3 mouse. So I like what they did there. I think it adds to the longevity of the mouse. This was rarely a character we were seeing past turns 4 or 5, but getting a free +3/+3 down the line can be really critical if you're trying to buff a camel in the late game or a gorilla or a dragon. A dragon composition very hard to run, but we'll talk more about that later. So we're going to put the mouse in the B tier. I think it's a good buff and it's a step in the right direction, but I don't think we're going to be seeing the mouse very often outside of late game. I'd be surprised to see people going for that 3/3 apple when there's a lot of other fruits and items in the shop that can offer that same buff. The fish. Oh, how they massacred my boy. Let me tell you what. So the fish used to give everybody +1/+1. That was the name of the game. It was a +1/+1 on level up 2 and 3. Now, this time, it only gives +1/+1 to 2 friends. Then it gives +2/+2 to 2 friends. And then level 3, it does nothing. So I'm putting the fish way down here. Possible hot take, I don't know. But I find the fish to not be one of my more enjoyed characters as of late. And I've got a hunch that isn't going to be changing anytime soon. Moving on to tier number 2. The snail gets bumped down from tier 3 to tier 2, and instead of giving +1 attack, +1 health per loss, so if you lose, you play the snail, okay, your whole team gets +1/+1. This time, though, the game has changed. Things get a little bit weird. Now, if you lose, it's only +1 health. So the snail getting nerfed used to be like an A tier. Gonna join the fish down here. That -1 attack goes a long way in the late game. The crab goes from a 3/1 to a 4/1. Not a huge change. I think the crab is a very niche character. Gonna put him right in the middle. People play him if they want to. This whole thing is subjective. I should make that more clear. This is just my opinion. This is the playstyles I play. The game is built in a way to have many playstyles be viable, but I did want to take some time to talk about these changes and kind of see where I think these pets are gonna fall in terms of playability. The swan, one of the largest changes I think we see, and it's funny because it's so little. The swan goes from a 1/3 to a 1/2. So it's not something we see super often, but it's interesting. The swan is going to be at that 1-2 scoreline, a lot easier to kill, very hard, or harder rather, to buff in that early game. So I think I'm still going to keep the swan in A. I think the extra gold goes a really long way, but I do think this can be impactful for turning that swan into that juggernaut that you see down the line. People running 50-50 lemon swans. We're not going to be seeing that as often due to the fact that 1 HP makes it a little less viable in the early game. The rat. Guys, I gotta keep it real with you. I just hate the rat. I don't play hippo comps, and hippo comps are the only time you're going to be seeing a rat be viable. So I think, or maybe a kangaroo as well, but I think the rat is boring. I think him being a little bit stronger is good. He's, what, a 3-6 now, I believe, with the changes. So it's good, but I'm pretty anti-rat. Flamingo goes from a 4-2 to a 3-2, but still offers that +1/+1 buff for the two enemies or the two friends behind them. So Flamingo, still A tier to me. Worm, tell y'all right now, spoiler alert, boom, down to the D tier. So the worm used to be the absolute buff of buffs. This was the juggernaut in a lot of late games in the classic turtle pack. Used to be a 3-3, it was a tier 4 animal, and every time you fed it, it gained +1/+1. If it was level 2, it gained +2/+2. Level 3 gains +3/+3, right? Now, it just makes an apple a little cheaper. What does that mean? So you all of a sudden, you get a worm. Okay, great. It's going to give you a 2 gold apple at the start of every turn. Or a 2 gold better apple, or a 2 gold best apple. So best case scenario, you're getting a slightly better pear or chicken wing. That's not, you don't want that. That's dumb. I think the worm is on a bad spot right now. Kicked out of the puppy pack, stays in the turtle pack. Just does not make the waves I think we're looking for. So worm stays down. Kangaroo. Another fascinating change here. So it gets nerfed pretty simply. It goes, I believe, up to, or from 3 to 2 in terms of tiers. And now it's a 2-3 instead of a 1-2. It only gets +1/+1 when a friend attacks, or level 2 is 2-2, and level 3 is 3-3. I don't think this changes anything. I think the kangaroo is still pretty competently S tier. You get a booster in front of this guy, you get a draft behind him if you want to, and kangaroos can be unstoppable in the late game. Tier 3, and this is the big jump, guys. The dodo being bumped up from tier 2 to tier 3 goes from a 3-3 to a 4-2. Level 1 gives 50% of its attack to the nearest friend ahead. That is a 17% jump from 33%. Very surprising, very cool, and I do think it adds a lot to viability. Level 2, 100% attack, and level 3, 150. Do I think the dodo is possibly just a worse panda? Maybe, but at the same time, dodo doesn't have to die to give the stats where panda does. So those two going head to head is a very interesting discussion. Badger, not a lot changes, 5-3 to 6-3. I think Badger is a very reliable earlier game character. You put a honey on that guy, the bee pops up, you win via bee. It's a lame way to win, but the win is what we're all about. Badger sticks around. The elephant, another critical change, used to be tier 2, jumps up to tier 3, goes from a 3-5 to a 3-7, and still has the same function of dealing 1 damage to the nearest friend behind, but this time it goes after the attack, which I don't think changes much. And to be honest with you guys, not sure I fully understand what those changes mean, but I don't think this changes much for the elephant. I think elephant stays S tier. Camel, one of my favorite animals in the entire game, goes from a 2-6 to a 2-4. I think that's a pretty viable situation, but unfortunately, getting nerfed does hurt it a little bit. You're going to have to buff it a lot earlier, and there's, as we've learned, not a lot of things offering HP like they used to. You don't see those same +1/+1s. So I'm going to throw the camel in the A tier. Maybe that's a little bit of recency bias. I just love the camel. You can't blame me. This is another interesting one. I feel like I'm a broken record over here, but a lot of fascinating changes go through with this puppy pack update. The dog being one of them. Used to be a 3-4, now it's a 2-3. Old ability is gain +1 attack and +1 health until end of battle if a friend is summoned. The new ability, gain +2/+1, so +2 attack, +1 health. Level 2 is +4/+2, and level 3 is +6/+3. So I think there are some cool ways to play the dog. I'm not a huge fan of end of battle effects, so I don't play the dog super often, but I do think it can be a reliable character, a reliable animal once you get to that point. Also, funnily enough, the dog removed from the puppy pack, which, you know, the name doesn't make a lot of sense. But hey, next up, the bison. A very common. If you've ever made it to your 10th trophy, you've seen the bison. If it has a level 3 friend, +2/+2. Now, if it has a level 3 friend, +1/+2, level 2 is +2/+4, and level 3 is +3/+6. So the only thing we're seeing here is a nerf on the attack gained. It feels like they want the attack numbers to be a lot lower. They want to make it a lot harder to get up to that 50/50, but I don't think this is anywhere near enough to get this guy out of the meta. Bison, OP. You get a level 3 otter or level 3 ant early game, the bison's a guarantee. You're spiking up to 50/50 10 minutes, 10 rounds earlier than anybody else on the battlefield. So I think that's a pretty critical change, but a welcome one to say the least. The Blowfish, another large change from tier 3 to tier 4. And instead of a 3/5, it's now a 3/6. So gets one little bit of extra HP, but also gets one additional damage per hurt. So for those that don't know, the Blowfish or the Pufferfish used to deal 2 damage to one random enemy if it was hurt. Now it does 3, 6, and 9 for levels 2 and 3 respectively. I think that's a pretty critical change. I think Elephant Blowfish is an insanely strong combo, especially if you have the Pineapple, which helps the Blowfish deal additional damage on that hit. I don't think he's going anywhere for a long time. Another pet removed from the puppy pack. Squirrel. Squirrel is another fascinating one, but I think this is a kind of large buff. I think it feels like maybe it might be a nerf. I'm actually, I have it in my notes as buff. I'm going to change my mind right now, guys. I think this is a nerf. The old ability at the start of your turn, it used to add one shop food item and discount it by 1 gold. Now it discounts all shop food by 1 gold, and a level 2 is 2 gold, level 3 is 3 gold. I remember why this is a buff, because the old one used to be only the item summoned in was discounted. If it's a doo-doo item, it doesn't matter that it's discounted. You're not able to spend it. But this is a huge buff for the Squirrel. I think it having really strong stats. I think, what is it, a 2/5? And now it discounts all shop food items is huge. You get this thing to level 3, your shop is literally free. You get this and a goldfish on the board. Things are like, oh, just kidding. Goldfish doesn't do that anymore. Anyway, the shop being free goes a long, long way in the mid game. I think scaling can be really easy if you get a level 3 Squirrel early. However, we're already on tier 4, so early is in some pretty large quotes. Tier 5, the Rhino, goes from a 5/8 to a 6/9. Probably call that a B tier. Rhino, very niche, a character I feel like we don't see particularly often, but does have a really cool thing of doing, if it gets a knockout, it does additional damage to the animal behind it, or behind the one it just killed. So if it kills the first animal, it'll do damage to the second. It'll do double that damage if the second is a tier 1 pet. So the Rhino has this really cool scale potential, but I can't think of a lot of metas right now where we're seeing tier 1s in late game, which is when the Rhino shows up. So he doesn't get the viability I think the devs wanted him to, and I'd like to see those changes further down the line. Armadillo, the second pet added to the turtle pack, and it goes from tier 4 to tier 5. This is funky, guys. This is really a fascinating change. So the Armadillo used to have a concept where if it was hurt and when it fainted, it would give all allies +1 health. All allies +2 and 3 for levels 2 and 3 respectively. But now it gives all pets at the start of battle 8, 16, or 24 additional health. I don't know why we would play the Armadillo. Maybe there's some kind of long game I'm not understanding. Maybe my strategies don't line up with this, but I really don't like the way the Armadillo's headed. I miss the old Armadillo. I think it played a really cool concept, but unfortunately they've changed things up a bit. I'll poke around with it in some upcoming videos and see if we can make it work, but for now, don't expect to see the Armadillo on my rosters. If you've got a reason why it should be played, let me know, because I'm really trying to rack my brain on why the Armadillo might be played like that. Another pretty critical nerf is the Seal, who once fed would give 2 random friends +1 attack and +1 health, then +2, +2, and +3/+3 as it's leveled up. Now it gives 3 friends only attack. So 1 attack if it's level 1, 2 attack if it's level 2, and 3 attack if it's level 3. So you feed the Seal and it gives 3 friends 1 attack. Feels a little odd. As I mentioned earlier, it feels like they're really trying to slow down the scale to 50/50. It feels like people were getting to that maximum number of 50/50 possibly too early, but I do think this is a pretty critical Seal nerf. Just getting rid of that HP bonus in the late game, that's how you can keep a lot of lower damage threshold characters alive, like a Giraffe or like a Skunk or like a Monkey would be kind of that consistent buff from the Seal, but unfortunately, it's not what we're seeing. This used to be S tier, S for Seal, but I think this kicks it all the way down to the Snail and the Fish, and it's funny because they're both there for that same reason of not having that true buff anymore. The Rooster, I don't play summon packs super often, guys, so I don't have a large opinion about anything but the turkey, and we're going to get to that next, actually. But the Rooster goes up from tier 4 to tier 5, and its stats change from 5-3 to 6-4. I think this makes a lot of sense because it is summoned with half of the... so when the Rooster is eliminated, it summons X amount of chicks with half of its attack and 1 HP. Half of 5 is 2 or 3. In this game, only using whole numbers doesn't make a lot of sense, but half of 6 is obviously 3. So I think we're seeing a quality of life change. I think the Rooster is pretty common toward the late game, especially if you're running summons. So I think we're going to put it in the B category, the consistent category, and it's something really exciting. So the Turkey, as much as I hate this guy, he's clearly an S tier character, right? He gets nerfed in the most recent patch. Used to have, when a friend was summoned inside or outside of combat, they would give them +3/+3, +6/+6, or +9/+9 if they were level 3, if the Turkey was level 3, an important clarification. The new ability is giving a friend +2/+3, +4/+6, and +6/+9. So we're seeing that notch in the damage ticked down again in the Turkey. And it's a pattern that we're seeing in a lot of this. And I'm excited to figure out why the devs are bringing that to the table. But all things considered, it's not a big enough nerf. The Turkey's not going anywhere. Turkey, with a lot of characters in this game, like the sheep, you know, we see him down here, like the cricket. There's so many variables you can play, like the fly in particular, my least favorite combo, the fly-turkey combo. And we're going to be seeing it for a long, long time. Tier 6, we've only got 3 more pets to talk about. Thank you so much for vibing through this video. If you like it, a like and a subscribe go a really long way, or a comment just telling me your thoughts on this. You know, I'm talking into my computer for the time being, but I'd love to hear from you guys and hear your thoughts on what this new change looks like, or these new changes, rather. Tier 6 is Gorilla, goes from a 6-9 to a 7-10. Now, the Gorilla has an ability where if he's hurt, he gets Coconut, which fully negates all damage. It's not like the Melon, which has a threshold of 20. The Coconut negates all damage. So I think that 10 HP on a tier 6 isn't as far as you'd want it to be, but I do think the Gorilla is going to be a little more in the limelight. He's still standing better than he's ever been, perhaps, and I think he's going to be in that A tier for that. The Dragon. I don't think we've seen any critical changes from the Dragon. The old ability, give other pets +1/+1, +2/+2, and +3/+3 if a tier 1 friend is bought. And I'm seeing the new ability is tier 1 friend bought, give friends +1/+1, +2/+2, +3/+3. So, okay, it just changed the wording. Give other pets and then give friends. So Dragon, he's a very niche character. I'm going to put him probably in B tier for now. That might be my hottest take. I don't use him super often, but there's definitely viability. There's definitely terms of success there. You just have to have that one spot open to constantly cycle out +1/+1s. And finally, another pretty large change, but I don't think large enough to remove the success of the cat. So the old ability for the cat is food with health and attack effects were doubled, tripled, or quadrupled, depending on level. And now we're seeing that same thing again, but it only works 2 times per turn. I think that's a pretty aggressive nerf, so you can't really run like the cow-cat spam as I run pretty often in my late game, but I think it's still not going to be enough to remove cat from that critical success. So I don't think cat is seen often by the 10th trophy, but from trophies 5 to 9, the cat's still pretty consistent with a lot of food options on the table. You get a cat-squirrel combo going, you get 2 buffs for free that are doubled, tripled, or quadrupled, a lot of huge viability. Throw that on my guy, the Gorilla, and he's looking really good for success. So I think there's a lot of great chances for this to be changed. Now, this was only the pets that were changed in the Turtle Pack. I just wanted to go through and walk through, but if you guys want to hear my general thoughts on the rest of the Turtle Pack, what the Star Pack looks like, the Puppy Pack, the new one, or the Golden Pack, I'd love to talk about them some more. So please, if you could comment on this, tell me your thoughts. Do I have good takes? Do I have bad takes? Or what do you guys want to see more from me? Thank you so much for watching. Check your posture, drink some water, don't forget to love each other, and I'll see you in the next one.